Hello everyone and welcome back to the channel. I'm It's Robbie Rhino and I'm really excited to be able to showcase for you the first British heavy tank in Cold War, the recently released FV4211, which is the level 100 reward for the British Invasion Season Pass, which is currently going on, and I absolutely love it because I am British. It's a Western Alliance heavy tank in Era 2, which is the Escalation era. It's an absolute beast. I love it already, and I can't wait for the British heavy tanks to come out, the Tech Tree heavy tanks in Cold War to come out. As this video goes out on the 13th of December, the heavy tanks are being released tomorrow on the 14th of December, so I'm going to be grinding through that and spending all my silver. So let's just hop into the statistics of the tank and I'll run down that. Then I'll run down my commander and equipment setup, and then I'll quickly talk about the armor and show you some weak points, and we're going to head into 3 gameplays for you. So this tank has a 10% XP and commander XP bonus earn, and the really nice thing about this is a 65% silver bonus earn. I'm making about 400,000 to 500,000 silver per battle with a ×2 booster on, which is absolutely great, and it kind of pays for itself basically, and I think it's a really nice silver earner. And it's very powerful, and as you'll find out with the statistics. So hit points wise, it has 3,000, which is sort of top of the tree at Era 2, and 470 meters view range, which you can increase with your commander and equipment setup, but you can make that work because the attributes of the armor and the gun will make up for that. Engine wise, it's a little disappointing. 750 horsepower engine with a power to weight ratio of 13.26. It is a little bit underwhelming. You can only go 48.3 kilometers an hour forwards and 16.1 kilometers an hour backwards. It's got a hull traverse speed also of 34 degrees a second and a turret traverse speed of 40 degrees a second, which means you will be outmaneuvered and outrun by pretty much everything in Era 2. There are the other attributes of the gun and the armor which do make up for it, like I said, but just be wary that this isn't a fast tank even if you decide to use the speed equipment. But now we're going to get onto everything. Well, the most important thing for pretty much everyone in the game is the gun on this tank, and it has a beautiful gun. It's a 120mm L11A5 with 440 alpha damage on its APCR and FPF SDS rounds, and 605 alpha damage on its HESH rounds, which you can use because it does have some fairly good penetration if you get the sort of sides and rear of your enemies. So the penetration on these rounds, 365 on the APCR, 483 on the APF SDS, which is very nice, and 290 on the HESH. So you can make that work if you choose not to shoot spaced armor and choose your weak spots correctly, which I'm still learning about a lot of the tanks. Another really nice thing about this gun is the shell velocity at 1370 meters a second on its APCR, 1530 meters a second on its APF SDS rounds. But do be wary that the HESH only has 660 meters a second, so you will have to adjust your aim accordingly. Base aim time of 1.5 seconds is absolutely phenomenal. Accuracy isn't too great for Cold War at 0.35, but you can get that down with your commander and equipment setup. Base rounds a minute is 8 rounds a minute with a reload time of 7.5 seconds base, and it carries 55 rounds, which is very nice. So let's go off into my commander setup and I shall show you what Bones is using. Sixth Sense, Born Leader, Rapid Loading, Steady Aim, Rapid Aim, Snapshot, Run and Gun, Armor Angling, and Track Mechanic, and you can see that's pretty much 2 essential perks to the Sixth Sense and Born Leader. Get my reload down, Gun Handling, Armor Angling because it's a heavy tank and I want to last in the battle for as long as possible, and Track Mechanic because I want to get those tracks up and save my hit points so I can dominate the battlefield. And now let's go into my equipment setup for you. I run Advanced Loader, Gun Stabilizer, and I run the traction system because I want to get to the battle before, you know, the damage is starting to go, which can happen in a very fast-paced environment like Era 2 and Cold War. You still will be out-traversed by pretty much everything, even if you decided to include the advanced powertrain. but I didn't want to give up the reload or the accuracy enhancement. You could also consider using advanced armor to couple that with the armor angling skill on the commander, but yeah, I think this is a pretty good setup and I'm pretty happy with it so far. I'm getting to the battle in just enough time to be able to use this great rate of fire that I've now got, and I'll just talk you through what my statistics now are on my tank with the commander and equipment setup. So now I've got it down to 5.82 reload, a 1.44 second aim time, an accuracy of 0.31, and with the speed equipment I now go 53.13 forwards and 17.71 kilometers an hour backwards, which is a little bit better. And traverse wise I now go 37.4 on its hull, and on my turret my traverse is 45.89, so that has increased dramatically, and it does help a lot if things are trying to circle you and you just want to adjust your positioning slightly, and it helps you angle just that little bit better. My view range is now 490 meters, which isn't too bad. So let's talk really quickly about the armor. I'll just go to the weak point straight away for you. Lower plate, it is quite strong because it's well angled. There is a bar across the bottom of the lower plate for you, and I've probably just gone past it in my excitement. So we'll talk about that bar. Here we are at 69mm, but do be wary that there's kind of layers of spaced armor on this sort of hull and the turret, so you do have to be wary of that. I found that penetration wise, to go through the lower plate, you're looking at sort of 420mm of penetration plus for the lower plate, and probably like 460 even more plus for the turret, because this turret is absolutely phenomenal. It has 114mm, and that's sort of just behind like a spaced armor protection there. Yeah, and it's just really, really nice. And then you also have 185mm right on top there, so you're adding that together, and it's a slope backwards. And if you're using your gun depression, which is 9 degrees, then you're going to be trying to hide that cupola, which is another weak point. Another weak point that you might want to be wary of is this sort of patch here, 120mm just on the hull there, if you're able to shoot down on the tank. And there is also another weak point on the front here, if I can find it, a little hatch. There we go, 60mm. Try and shoot for there, shoot for the cupola and the bottom of the lower plate, or preferably get the side of this tank. So that's enough talking about the statistics, my commander, my equipment and the armor. Let's head into the gameplay and see how this tank performs. So we're now in the first replay of the video. We're here on Fisherman's Bay in my new toy, the FV4211, which I've fallen in love with. I find it slightly more difficult to play than something like a MOBAT or most of the Eastern Alliance heavies because of the alpha. And what I mean by that is you're just having to sit in front of your opponents a little bit longer to get your rounds out, to get the damage out. Armor wise, it's absolutely brilliant. Front on, it has sort of layers of armor, it has quite small weak points, and it's very, very troll sort of lower plate, and it's fantastic turret. I mean, it's an absolute beast hold down, and I'm very confident sitting in front of quite a lot of tanks if they're front on, but you have to be wary because your traverse, and your top speed and your reverse and everything, just all-round mobility I should say, isn't as good as you sort of hope, but I think this tank makes up for it in its sort of rate of fire, in the gun handling. As I say that, I missed most of my shots at the start of this game, but I'm sort of sat here, I bounced a shot there off my gun, I've just come to the middle to see what I can get off the start of this game. Getting a little bit frustrated, missing all of these shots, and it's one of those games, one of those starts to the games where nothing was going right, everything was getting killed just before I fired, I'm aiming quite badly, and I think I was just really sort of keen to get the damage flowing, because when this thing sort of gets into a rhythm, you really do rack up the damage, as you'll see in these replays. So now I'm just going to try and poke out and get a shot into this T72M1, and the only downside to having APCR and APF SDS is the penetration drop off at distance, which Heat doesn't have. Of course, it is better against sort of spaced armour, up close, that kind of thing. It won't get absorbed as easily, and the shell velocity is absolutely phenomenal, so you don't have to lead as much for people that can't aim like me. But yeah, as you can see, it's been like nearly 3 minutes into the battle and I haven't picked up any damage yet, but I promise you this battle does get a lot better, and the replays do get a lot better as we go on. So first shot goes in 407, which is a low roll, but a lot of people do like to use the armor angling and the that kind of thing to decrease the damage people are taking, and you know, you do roll lower than World War II in Cold War. So now the enemy have flanked us, but this middle position is really nice. It's got a ridge line, you know, towards the south and the north, so I can just fall back either side, stay hold down, and put this gun to work. And I'm trying to aim, as my voice goes, I'm trying to aim my shots just, you know, a lot better than I was at the start of the game. Trying to sort of get a feel for the shell velocity. I think sometimes I was sort of overleading because I just forgot how good this shell velocity is, and I don't know where that shot went. I felt like I was a little bit unlucky with quite a lot of these shells. Maybe I'm sort of snapping at them a little bit, but even when missing all of these shells, I'm still racking up the damage. I've got 2.5k and I'm in a really great position to defend the base from here. As I'm getting spotted, I'm just going to fall back sort of beyond this building to stop getting shot from the sort of one line in the southwestern corner. We're getting capped out, but this is a very sort of nice cap to defend because it's very, very open. They've only got a little rock there, and I've spotted this light tank there who I managed to bounce off the back, which is obviously the new British light tank, which I'll be getting a review out this week of. I prefer this a hell of a lot more. It's just so much more durable, and I find it's really fun to play. You can rack up a lot more damage in this tank. So we're up to 3.9k damage, and now we're coming up against a T-72. We're just battering through him. We're going to enhance my combat rations to get my reload down, and my reload said there 3.8 seconds. I'm not sure if that was a bug, but if it is, that would be phenomenal for 440 alpha damage. This poor 120's caught out, and as you can see, you don't have to panic if you're not getting the damage in straight away. Obviously, you don't want to let your team all die and capitulate and the game will be over before you know it. But as soon as you get this thing into a rhythm and tanks are out in front of you, you know, the damage starts to rack up at a really phenomenal rate. And that's a lovely roll there at 461 on that T-72A. I think a few of these shots are quite difficult. He's angling up, so I'm going to have trouble penetrating him at this distance because of the shell drop off and because that tank has Eastern Alliance magical spaced armor. But I'm getting shot from behind me by a light tank. I'm only losing a little bit, so I'm not too worried. I want to try and clear at least the north or the south. I don't want to get shot from two directions because this tank is sort of a front-on fighter. You want to try and get your enemies in front of you. You want to use ridge lines. Yeah, and it can side scrape. It's not too bad at side scraping. You've got to be careful not to over angle because they will penetrate you. And yeah, but I found the armor works so much better than it looks on paper just because of the angling and everything like that. So we free aim a shot there into the Sheridan. Going to go in for a round, but unfortunately we get tracked. Get another shot in, and I'm just hoping we can get our final shell in before he reloads. Looks like he might have fired a heat shell when we absorbed it there, and we're up to 7.1k damage. Two tanks left on the enemy team, and I think I know where they are. They're in the sort of northwestern corner, maybe in sort of A, B1 and 2 area. I just want to try and push my damage up even more, and you can see that the mobility is helped a lot here by the equipment that I'm using. Try to aim a shot there on the move. I actually hit it but bounce. This could have been a lot more damage in this game if I had a bit more luck and I actually aimed a bit better. We bounce off that new British light, but we do manage to ram him and put another shot into him, taking our damage total to 8.8k. Another aim, and you'll see me auto aim in a fair bit in this tank at close range because of that shell velocity. I'm trying not to get into the habit of doing it too much because I'll transfer it to other tanks, but we finish MVP in that game. 9.2k damage, 5 kills. We get the Mastery Badge Ace Tanker, 1645 base experience points. Unfortunately no assistance and no blocked, but I promise you this tank does absorb and block a lot of damage. And yeah, a great game with making 483,000 silver. So we're going to hop into the second game, and then we'll hop up into the third game, which are two better games, so I'll see you there shortly. So we're now in the second replay of the video, and we're here on Heilbronn, which I'm getting a bit sick of seeing kind of the same maps, mainly in Cold War now, even with the revamped maps. It feels like the rotation just isn't as good as it is in World War II, and it would be nice to see a lot more maps in Cold War, but obviously that will happen eventually. I appreciate that. There's a little bit of patience needed, but it can get a little bit annoying when you've played like the same sort of 3 maps. It just feels like on repeat for a long time. But anyway, we're going to go to this little middle position here in F5, and we're going to try and see what's crossing the north. Tanks like to hide straight up in the north there, in sort of like the A sort of 5, B5 location. And we're just going to boost our combat rations to try and enhance our view range a little bit. As you can see, I've invested it all in brawling, gun handling, my sort of commander and equipment. So I don't have the best view range, but we're going to see what we can do. Nice 420 roll there to start off the battle on that Mobat. And you do have to be careful about tanks like the Mobat and the Eastern Alliance heavies and everything, like I've said, trying to outmaneuver you, ramming you, that kind of thing. Although you are a pretty heavy boy, so you'll you know, get a bit of damage from the rams as well. So we're gonna try and push up and get under the gun line of the tanks that will be in the sort of sniping hill there in B6, B7. There's an enemy FV4211. Unfortunately, we missed that shell. And again, it's kind of one of those starts of the battle where I haven't found what I wanted to at the start of the battle, but I'm just going to try and stay patient, try not to, you know, be overly aggressive. And this is kind of the perfect position for an FV4211. It's angled like this, sort of trying to angle it at 45 degrees, try not to give him my drive wheel, but I did go out there just to get that kill there. I'm aiming for tracks, trying to get that assistance damage. And as you can see, we're going to town, and when you go to town, this damage starts to rack up, and because we are pushing the tempo in this battle, we are racking up the assistance. And that's what I mean about using the speed equipment, just to get to the battle, trying to get that little bit of extra assistance, trying to sort of push the tempo and be as aggressive as you can be. This is really nice to sort of stay hold down. 9 degrees, you can use it in quite a lot of positions on the maps. It would have been nice to have 10 degrees or more, but we can't always have everything, can we? But yeah, we're going to town on this Mobat. I'm pretty confident that he won't pen me unless I overexpose my upper hull. And there we go. We get a shot into the tracks there. I should have been finishing a shot, but it gets magically absorbed. Unfortunately, I'm finding a lot with the APCR and the FPF SDS rounds on this tank that players drive in front of you. That over distance and especially close range, they're just sort of getting absorbed. They're bouncing off obviously the angled armor, which I completely understand because of the normalization, but it feels a little bit derpy because of that region. And I shouldn't say derpy because I am hitting most of the shells, but it feels like you could be so much more lucky in this tank and get a lot more out of it. But anyway, enough of me moaning. We've now pushed our damage total to, with that shot, 3,500 and 1,000 assistance. I'm sort of caught in between enemies to sort of my rear and in front of me. Just got to be wary that I don't get shot in the back. But I'm going to use the bushes here to try and stay hidden while firing, whilst angling, trying to angle it at 45 degrees so that if I pull back around the corner when they shoot, hopefully they bounce off my upper hull or my turret armor. Trying to feather a shot on this Mobat. I don't know what shot they think I have there, but I just tried one for luck. You do carry enough rounds, or I found just enough rounds. I usually end up going into my APF SDS rounds, of which I carry quite a lot because of the fantastic penetration, and because it makes so much silver, I feel like you can afford to do so. And this is the kind of position where this tank excels, with ridge lines, with wrecks in front of you, so you can hide your lower plate, try and hide your sides and your rear, and just try and set front onto tanks and just go through them, and you do end up picking up damage. very, very quickly. And I found people that do rush this tank and try and outmaneuver you if you use the speed equipment, if you try and get your traverse as good as possible, keep up with them, they will just auto-aim around you and bounce off your lovely sloped British armour. And I can't wait to try out the British tech tree tanks that are coming out tomorrow. Like I said at the start of this video, I think it's going to be a really, really fun grind. So we're now trying to just push this gap. I knew I might take a shot, but I wanted to get into a better position now to get shots into the enemies that are sort of sitting in B6. We get a lovely shot on the move, and now we're going to just tuck into this little nook here, try and use the bushes, enhance my combat rations for the view range, and scope out using the true vision system, trying to see what tanks are in distance. So this Mobat pulls out again, going to go for the tracks. Unfortunately we don't do a damaging shot, but we do track the Mobat, hoping for some assistance damage, but we do get a second shot in as he's pulling back, and it's a very even game at the moment. We're down to 5 tanks aside. We're now on 5.5k damage and 1000 assistance, and I'm going to give my tanks over this side a little bit of help just to see if we can clear out this northern flank. Get a nice shot into the new British light tank there to finish him off. Now I'm going to go after this heavy, which I feel like I could just sort of annihilate tanks in this kind of position. I get a bit lucky there because I angle up and he had a shot up into my lower plate, but fortunately we get another shot in. And here you can see the traverse speed is just a little bit slow. Unfortunately I auto-aim that, and that's what I'm saying, don't get too carried away with the auto-aiming because it can be a bit, it can get you into trouble if you need to, and there are some circumstances when you do need to, when you really need to snap a shot in without free aiming and you're trying to save hit points, then do so. But I always encourage to, you know, aim using your sniper view or to free aim, because you know you're going to get better accuracy that way. And we're full health, so I'm just going to wiggle, go forwards. Unfortunately we don't bounce the first, but we do bounce the second. We get a shot on the move there, and we're just going to advance up this Mobat, trying to make ourselves as hard a target as possible. And there you can see bounce off our side, and you can get up a sort of nice head of steam when you're going down slopes. Again, lovely gun handling on the move there. That's where run and gun comes into play, shutting down that Mobat. And this is this last Mobat on the enemy team. We get another shot on the move, going for the tracks, trying to track the Mobat in place just to see if we can get a little bit of extra damage. But the T-72A on my team finishes him off, and yeah, we pick up a pretty respectable total for this battle with 3 kills, 8.2k direct damage, 1, 2, 3, 4 assistance, another Master Badge Ace tanker, 1621 base experience points as I said, and we do actually block 1140 in that battle and make another 460,000 silver, which is really getting my bank balance high so I can spend it all tomorrow. So we're going to hop into the third game and see how I get on there. So we're now in the third and final replay of the video, and we're here on Desfall. And on this map, as you've seen in my previous replays, in most of my tanks I'd like to take the centre. I'm pinging to let my team know that I'm going to contest the centre, and hopefully I'll have support, and that's something that you're going to want to bear in mind with this tank. You're going to want to have support with you, even just a couple of tanks, because if tanks, and they will, try and outmaneuver you, and they will, you're going to want backup, you're going to want people supporting your rear, even if it's just sort of a deterrent, because you want to face your armour at the biggest threat. Your armour's all sort of faced towards the front on the turret. Go hold down and face your armour at ATGM so that they get absorbed and don't do as much damage. You know, they don't penetrate, they just splash. Or if someone's got higher alpha or higher rate of fire than you, you want to aim at the biggest threat to you. Or if you know it's like, you know, a player in a platoon or something like that. So just be wary of that. I'm just muting some players because of that bug. I don't know whether it was still around at this point, but I didn't want to have any people shouting obscenities at you lot while you're watching my videos. Here you can see a problem with the speed of the tank and the horsepower. We're getting here quite slowly, and most tanks are going to beat us here. I see this light tank and that building go down, but I'm not too worried about that light tank, and I push back up, and I feel like I'm capable of brawling, and I'm just seeing where he's gone, but I feel like he might have dropped back down. We're going to come to this really nice position here, just at the bottom of F6. you have lovely shots here towards the south, and this is a sort of crossing zone for a lot of tanks, and if they get caught out here in a tank like this, you're able to absolutely decimate them. We get a lovely pinpoint shot there with the great accuracy into that object 934, and now we're going to go hold down. As you can see, I'm just checking the sniper view to see if I'm hold down. You can sort of see the sort of ridge in front of your gun, so if you just poke your gun over, you know you're hold down. They're shooting up at me. It's going to be a very difficult shot for them to penetrate, even my cupola, or even hit it from here. I get a bit frustrated with missing a few shots. I'm probably aiming like a complete scrub again, but we get a lovely shot there into the tracks of that T62, track him, and the M60A2 finishes him off. Let that one aim in a little bit further, and maybe I'm just firing a little bit too early on some of these shots, so I'm trying to get my aiming in a bit more. Get a bit frustrated and wiggle there. I don't know where that shot went, just into the abyss, but we get another shot into the M60A3, which is crossing. And when you get tanks like this that are caught out in the open, they're just going to be sitting ducks for you. You've got the rate of fire to track them, to keep them tracked, and yeah, to get multiple shots in whilst they're crossing. And as I've spoken through all of that, we picked up 3.1k damage and 500 assistance damage. We're going to try and get a shot into this Mobat as he crosses, but he just goes into a little dip and our shell flies over. But we're going to have another chance in 4 seconds time with the combat rations enhanced. If we get a shell in, unfortunately we just do critical damage, but he does get shut down. And we're just going to sit in this position and try and farm as much damage as we can. Sometimes when you're in a position like this and you're not getting much done, you know, you need to push the tempo, and I would have if I felt like I needed to. I usually do it like 1 or 2 minutes of sort of no damage or no opportunities, and then I'll try and move on. From this position on this map, I can always relocate and defend my base from here, and I've got the buildings and, you know, opportunities to go hold down. But I feel like there's still damage here, and I feel like there's this Mobat, and as you can see the tanks in the distance there with the tree vision system. But I think I've decided now to sort of move around. I thought this light tank might have been up with me, but he's just below. And we're going to try and see what we can do the other side and see what tanks are heading towards our base. And this is a game, spoiler alert, that I felt like it could have been so much more if I just maybe, I don't know, played ever so slightly more aggressive now. This is kind of position where I was talking about the 1 or 2 minutes where I feel like you need to move on and do something different. Instead I kind of twist and turn and go backwards and forwards to the north and south, trying to get shots in, and in all fairness, I have shots here. They might not be the easiest shots, but we do get a lovely shot there into the turret of the M60, which isn't an easy shot at all because that turret can be quite troll. Going to get a shot here into the M113. That tank's a little bit of a misery to play. Maybe that'll be in my worst tank series. And we get a lovely roll there to finish off the M60, taking our damage total up to 4.8k damage before we get a shot into that Mobat. And you can see that I'm struggling to keep up with the damage because this rate of fire is so good. Missed the Mobat somehow there, and now I'm trying to get as many shots into these tanks that are coming towards my medium and my light tank in the south, but I missed a couple there. Sometimes I just don't know where the shots go in this tank. It might be like I'm just firing that a little bit too early, or I may be leading ever so slightly too much because the rate of the shell velocity is too good. Too good? It's so good. It's not too good, it can never be too good. We get another shot there into a tracks of a light tank that just do track damage, and yeah, it could have been a lot more this game, but as you can see we're racking up the damage. And if you're in a position like this where you are, you know, hold down, buildings in front of you, and as you can see that I was talking about angling your armour, that Sheridan has 80 GMs. He fired when I turned around, got my front to the Sheridan, didn't let him get around me, and we didn't take too much damage there, and we managed to fend off the M60. Unfortunately the Sheridan fired smoke there, so unfortunately I wasn't able to get another shell in. Now I've got 2 light tanks up with me, and in that time my team has capitulated. I'm just going to have to try and get as much damage in as possible here. Get a snapshot into the Sheridan there, and all these tanks are going to converge on me. I'm trying to push out and get as much damage as possible. Just try not to give the Sheridan my side, trying to sort of angle as best as possible so it gets absorbed, but he gets a penetrating shot there. It might have been a heat round, but we're just trying to at least kill one of these light tanks so I have a chance. Stingray comes into me, get a shot into him, and unfortunately we're only going to be able to fire one more round and it bounces off the back of a Sheridan. But yeah, in that sort of space of time we managed to pick up 9.4k direct damage, yeah, and finish with, I'm not too sure, I think it was, yeah, 3 kills and 500 assistance. We only blocked 460, but I think we absorbed a little bit more. Oh, I felt like we did anyway, but we finished, yeah, top of the team, nearly 10k, and I felt like this tank is capable of so much more. Another 460,000 silver, which is absolutely phenomenal. And yeah, it just goes to show, get this tank in the right positions, face your armor to where the biggest threat is, and fire away. And yeah, use this fantastic turret armor. So I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope you enjoy this tank when you finally get it. I hope you all have a great week and enjoy the British tech tree coming out in Cold War. And until the next video, see you on the battlefield, and bye for now.